Imagine going to sleep in a peaceful village where nothing ever seems to change. The streets are quiet, the houses warm with light, and the only sounds at night are the wind moving gently through the trees. Life moves slowly there, predictable and safe. People know each other by name. Doors are rarely locked. It is the kind of place where nothing unusual ever happens. But one morning, everything changed. When the sun rose over the hills, the village was no longer alive.
Every person had vanished overnight.
No emergency calls were made. No evacuation warnings were issued. Cars remained parked exactly where they had been left. Front doors stood open. Breakfast tables were set as if families had planned to return within minutes. Yet there was no movement anywhere. No voices, no footsteps, only silence stretching across empty streets. The village, known as Hollow Creek, had always been considered ordinary. Surrounded by dense forests and narrow country roads, it felt isolated from the chaos of the outside world. Residents described it as peaceful, almost timeless. Children played freely outside, local shops closed early, and nights were darker than anywhere else nearby. Nothing in its history suggested danger or disaster. But on the evening before the disappearance, small disturbances began to unfold. A few residents reported strange power fluctuations. Lights flickered repeatedly without explanation. Some claimed their radios emitted faint static even when switched off. Others described hearing distant humming sounds that seemed to come from the sky itself. Most ignored it, assuming it was a temporary electrical issue. As night deepened, witnesses later recalled an unusual stillness settling over the area. Dogs stopped barking. Insects grew quiet. Even the wind seemed to disappear. One resident, who lived just outside the village limits, reported seeing a faint glow above the tree line around midnight. The light was neither bright nor flashing, but steady and unnatural, hovering silently before fading away. But that wasn't the strangest part. Around 2 in the morning, multiple security cameras in nearby towns recorded brief signal interference. Footage showed heavy static lasting several minutes. When recordings resumed, nothing appeared unusual at first glance. Yet investigators would later notice something disturbing. Every clock visible in those recordings had stopped at exactly 2:17 a.m. By sunrise, delivery drivers entering Hollow Creek realized something was terribly wrong. Shops were unlocked, but empty. Coffee cups sat half full on tables. A bicycle lay abandoned in the middle of the road. It looked as though life had paused instantly, frozen in time. Authorities were contacted immediately, and emergency teams arrived expecting to find signs of a disaster. Instead, they found nothing. There were no footprints leading out of town, no evidence of struggle, no damaged buildings or signs of forced evacuation. Phones rang unanswered inside empty homes. Personal belongings remained untouched. Even pets had disappeared, leaving behind food bowls and open cages. It was as if every living being had vanished at the exact same moment. Search operations expanded quickly. Helicopters scanned nearby forests, while ground teams searched rivers, caves, and surrounding highways. Not a single trace was discovered. No vehicles leaving the area were recorded. No witnesses saw crowds fleeing. The disappearance defied every logical explanation. As news spread, theories began to emerge. Some investigators suggested a classified government operation, pointing to unusual signal disruptions recorded that night. Others believed a rare environmental event might have caused mass disorientation, leading people into the wilderness. Yet no physical evidence supported either claim. Then, new testimony surfaced. A truck driver traveling along a remote highway near Hollow Creek reported seeing a wide beam of pale light descending toward the village shortly before dawn. He described feeling intense pressure in the air, followed by sudden silence inside his vehicle, as though sound itself had vanished. Moments later, the light disappeared, and the village below appeared completely dark. Another witness, a night hiker camping several miles away, claimed he heard faint voices carried by the wind. The sounds resembled synchronized whispers, almost rhythmic, before abruptly stopping. When he later learned about the disappearance, he became convinced the events were connected. Authorities dismissed these stories as stress-induced hallucinations. Official reports labeled the case an unexplained missing persons event. Yet investigators privately admitted the situation made no sense. Every normal explanation failed under scrutiny. Historical researchers soon uncovered something unsettling. Old regional archives documented similar disappearances occurring decades earlier in nearby settlements. Entire communities reportedly abandoned without warning, their stories fading into local folklore. The pattern suggested events repeating roughly every half-century, though records were incomplete and often dismissed as myth. But the mystery deepened further when leaked documents began circulating online. The files referenced a project known as Project Echo, allegedly focused on experimental population relocation using unknown technology. While experts debated the authenticity of the documents, many noted timestamps that closely matched the night Hollow Creek vanished. Years have passed since that morning, yet the village remains abandoned. Nature slowly reclaims the streets. Grass grows through cracked pavement, and buildings decay under changing seasons. Explorers who visit the site report an overwhelming feeling of being watched. Some claim electronic devices malfunction within the area, while others describe hearing faint echoes resembling distant conversations after sunset. Online communities continue analyzing the case, sharing theories and examining fragments of evidence. Some believe the villagers were relocated somewhere unknown. Others suspect a dimensional anomaly beyond human understanding, and some think the truth is far darker than anyone is willing to accept. But despite investigations, debates, and endless speculation, no definitive answer has ever been found. Hollow Creek stands as a reminder that reality still holds mysteries we cannot explain. A place where an entire community vanished without leaving behind a single clue. What truly happened that night remains unknown. Was it a secret experiment, a natural phenomenon, or something far beyond human comprehension? The silence left behind offers no answers, only questions that continue to haunt those who search for the truth. If you have a theory about what happened, share it below, and subscribe to the Untold Signal for more untold mysteries, chilling stories, and forgotten events the world almost lost to time. And remember, listen closely, because some stories were never meant to be heard.